oftentimes in food, if you're in a major metropolitan city, or just follow food in general, you're a fan, you hear the names you're supposed to hear, the names that get a lot of press and a lot of attention. And then you hear names, if you're in the business or if you're really in the know of a specific city, you get to know the chefs that are like widely admired, and they're craftsmen and they're technicians and they have a vision, and they don't really give a shit about following what you're supposed to do on a, they're not trying to be well known. They want to just be well known for the food that they make. And Mark Ladner is our guest today. So stay tuned. If you want to listen to one of the great chefs in American history that I believe, he's a son of New England, and he has made some of the best meals I've ever had. We've had Brooks Headley on, and together they formed the powerhouse that was Del Posto. But his vision and his ability to teach, I think one of the great ways of me judging how great a chef is the alumni. And Mark Ladner has produced some outrageously successful alumni. And that's always a benchmark for how good a chef is. And Mark has been one of the very best. And he worked at Babbo. He worked at, he was the chef at Lupa. And I just have so much love for this guy. So I was really excited that he's going to be our guest today. So stay tuned. We're going to talk about him opening up Babbo, reopening up Babbo with Stephen Starr. So stay tuned for that. Welcome to the Dave Chang Show, part of the Ringer Podcast Network, presented by Major Domo Media. Thank you, Yola Tango, as always. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at The Dave Chang Show. We're going to be reformulating a bunch of stuff when we get back to the studio. We're currently here in New York. Sign up for our Discord channel at majordomomedia.com. You can sign up for our Discord channel, which is our online community. And got Recipe Club, and Chris Ying and Noel and the whole crew are working on some fun things. But as I said, we're in New York City. We're at the Spotify studios. You're watching or listening to this. And been in New York for a couple of days. I'm here for the Chase, Chase card events. We got EatsCon, the Infatuations, New York version of what they do in LA. We have a dinner with Paul Carmichael at Cabo that I'm going to attend, and I have a few other odds and ends, and been recording a bunch of podcasts. But the one podcast that I've been most excited to see is someone that I don't see that often. I used to see quite a bit, was Mark Ladner. And at the top of the podcast, I gave some sort of highlights that he is reopening up Stephen Starr Babbo in the West Village. And we're going to talk about some of the early days when I got to meet him. And there's a moment where I'm going to talk about eating a dish that was really revelatory to me. And it was a dish that is very simple. It was sugar snap peas from the green market with lemon, olive oil, and sea salt. And it was the way it was done. It was the way it was presented. It was just in an unadorned little cup. Still warm from the sun, from the green market, and it was such an austere way of serving a dish that it was so influential that I didn't even really tell him that dish was a dish that I put on Major Domo, but I added horseradish, breakfast radishes. That dish, actually, I should have told him when he was here, is an homage to that dish. It changed my idea that you could be innovative in something as traditional as Italian cuisine. And it opened my eyes that you can be creative. It may not look like it's avant-garde, but the thinking could be, if that makes any sense. And I had that at Lupa, and I had amazing meals at Del Posto. But a little rundown about a chef's chef, right? Mark Ladner, who I think is not going to be a chef much longer. Granted, he was at Del Posto, but that was owned with Joe and Mario. But this one is with Stephen Starr. But Mark's going to be front and center. And he has an institution in New York City cooking. He's been doing a few other projects. He left Del Posto to open up Pasta Flyer, which was fucking awesome. and he's back. And let me just give you a quick bio of Mark. Grew up in Massachusetts. He was a graduate of the CIA. He worked his early stints are two chefs that are important to note. Todd English at Olives, and Olives is a very important restaurant in the American culinary canon. It embraced a lot of Italian food concepts and really put Todd English at the sort of forefront of American food. He's part of the Tom Colicchio and Alfred Portali and that generation, the Terrence Brennans of the world, and the Barbara Lynches. And there was a few of those openings, expanded elsewhere. There was one in New York, but that team at Olives was sort of critical in developing a lot of what American food could be. And then he worked for Scott Bryan at Veritas. Scott Bryan, literally in Tony Bourdain's book, Kitchen Confidential, is talked about as the chef. And Veritas was in the West Village as well. And, he had an amazing CV, and then he was a chef for a long time at Veritas, which was a wine-centric, clearly with the name Veritas, restaurant. And, you should go reread Kitchen Confidential, where Bourdain talks about Scott Bryan. Really, really, really important chef in New York City food. I'm just thinking about Kitchen Confidential again, and the time frame as to when that came out. I remember working on the line, and they were honestly talking shit about Tony because this book seemed so fabulous and full of hyperbole, but in actuality, it wasn't. But it captured a moment in time in New York City dining that Mark Ladner was at the epicenter of. So that's a good contrast. If you're trying to listen to this podcast as a companion, maybe reread that bit with Eric Ripert and Scott Bryan and Bourdain talking about these guys and what it was like to be a real chef. Because Bourdain never put himself in the conversation as a Ripert and Scott Bryan. But in a lot of ways, Scott Bryan was the sort of the precursor of Mark Ladner. But Mark Ladner, to me, is somebody that's created an entire different pathway career-wise. And he opened up Lupa after working for Scott at Veritas. And Lupa was a Roman-style trattoria. I mentioned again, I had that sugar snap peas. I remember watching him buy it at the farmer's market. I was still a line cook at the time. And that was one of my favorite restaurants. That's where Ladner could be found almost all the time. And then he was the founding executive chef of Del Posto, opened up in 2005. And it was a different time, right? At the time, that was going to be the first 4-star Italian restaurant. Italian food as a marker was just very, very different than what it was today. And in the podcast, I mentioned with him that Italian food has truly won sort of high-end dining over. I think it's what people want to eat. And at every sort of restaurant that Mark's been at, it helps shape how we eat Italian food in America. And I can't stress that enough. He's so influential and in a lot of ways cerebral about how he creates things and what he cooks. And the new iteration of Babbo, he opened a pasta flyer, which was a more of a fast casual concept. What was so delicious. And the new iteration of Babbo of Steven Starr, probably the most underrated restaurateur America's ever produced. And that seems ridiculous because he's justifiably well-known and probably in most eyes properly rated, but I think he's criminally underrated for the amount of great food he's brought to the masses. So, excited to talk. Apologies if this gets a little bit too inside baseball. I tried my best to slow things down, to talk about some of the names, a lot of name dropping in here. But I am beyond excited to go eat his food again. He is a much beloved chef and extremely modest and humble. But that guy's got a sense of style and a sense of a point of view that is really original. And so here's our interview with Mark Ladner. He is reopening up Babbo very soon. For those that don't know, I'm sitting next to Mark Ladner. Man, I'm not seeing it, but I love dearly. And for those in the culinary profession, at least those that have cooked in New York City, Mark Ladner is a highly beloved figure. And I hope you know that. People that have worked for you or people that know you have so much respect for everything you've done. And just very excited about having you back in action. We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, back in the game.
But, he just sat down, and I'm looking at his shoes, and I was like, wow, if I had to focus on something that was the best to express Mark Ladner, for those that don't know him, you'd be these shoes. It is everything.
They're geriatric. I'm an old person,
No, but Mark has always had a sense of style, sense of place, but it's not fashion, and it's not aesthetics for just being cool.
Sure, Dave,
it's a good merger of your food. It's practical as well.
Of course,
practical meets something that has a point of view.
Form follows function always.
That's you, dude.
Yeah,
these shoes are you.
I try. Thanks, Dave. You're kind.
Man,
what's up?
I haven't seen you in so long.
Pre-pandemic for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
How's life, man?
Yeah, can't complain. Excited to be back in the kitchen,
I think everybody is excited. And probably the thing that I've been asked the most, or people ask me the most about what to be most excited about in 2025 is that Mark Ladner's back. Damn. He's back, baby.
That's a lot of pressure. Jesus,
it is a lot of pressure. But you know this.
Well, I mean, this dog's still got a few, tricks.
Of course you do.
I still got a few tricks.
Where are you going to be back? Because this used to be your old stomping grounds.
Yeah, it started in 1998. Yeah, it's a long time ago.
Back opening Babbo with Star.
Yeah.
We're going to have Star later this week.
I know, yeah. You got a huge article in the Times today. Real nice piece, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, cool.
Also somebody that doesn't get enough credit, I think, for being so good at his job. So the merger of you guys is going to be great.
Laser focused, yeah. Yeah, no, I wouldn't do it without a operator. I am not an operator.
Today, reservations go live.
That's correct.
Where can they find these reservations? Resi?
Yeah. Resi, yeah. But it's a small place, Dave. It's only, I think, 100 seats. So
versus Del Posto.
Right, 400 seats. Yeah. How much was Sambar? About that?
65.
Oh, wow.
With the back, probably 100.
Sure. Good old Booker.
But man, I've known you a long time, and I remember. I don't remember when, but
I do. The first time Marco introduced me to you when you were just getting ready to open the first noodle bar. I think it was at Hearth.
I think as a line cook, though, you may not remember it. I remember this because I was at your apartment in the West Village.
Yes, that's right. And, with Wiley?
Yeah, with Wiley.
Yeah, we were at the...
And I remember thinking, wait a second. This guy's like an adult. This guy's an adult. Because I've never seen like...
children.
Yeah, with children.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa. He doesn't sleep on the floor? Because a lot of line cooks just sleep wherever.
I still did. I just waited till you left.
And I just never realized that you could have a life outside of cooking. And you were the first person I'd ever met.
Wow, that's crazy.
That was like, wait a second here. You can have other priorities. And I genuinely remember thinking about that all night that day. I was like, what the fuck? This guy's like one of the best. And he can, what's going on? And he had kids. Like nobody I knew had kids at the time.
That's
and you had just had a different life.
That's right.
And you were living this life that I didn't know was a possibility.
I started too early, but now I'm free, so it was worth it in the end.
And the other memory I have for you is you were opening and you opened up Lupa.
Yep.
And I remember it was like a Tuesday market day, and it was like peak summer. And I saw you buying all of these sugar snap peas. Mm-hmm. And I remember thinking, wow, he actually does the shopping still.
Then I did, for sure. I did.
And these are all things that I remember, just from my perspective.
Yeah.
Because again, back in the day, when you go out drinking, you're meeting other line cooks, you're trading chefs like they're baseball cards. Who's doing what? Who's a badass? Who's doing something that you can learn from?
Yeah.
And everybody, regardless of whatever cuisine, because you talk about Wiley. Wiley is the one that really introduced us.
Sure.
He's cooking stuff that is so cutting edge that you wouldn't really mirror it as to what you were doing. And I was like, the first time that, again, that gave me a perspective of like, wait a second, you can look at food in a different way.
Sure.
And you can still be innovative. You can still be
interesting,
creative in a traditional setting, in a way that, with Italian food being your main sort of expression.
Yeah, exactly.
It was very revolutionary for me because I was like, wait a second here. How come Wiley's looking at what you're doing in a way that is still like revelatory? Because I was so caught up with Ferran and what Heston was doing.
Sure.
So it was, or just anything that was like modern and focused. And it was like a, what the fuck, Dave? Like, think about it in a way where, what is he doing? And it changed my perspective on food because you were doing it in a way that was innovative. Back in Lupa, which really I think you saw a lot more at Del Posto.
Yeah.
Simple things that you could, I don't know how to best describe it. I was like, wait a second, like there's innovation in tradition. And that's the best way I could describe it. And I've always thought that about you.
Well, you've always blended those lines as well. You know, I mean, your food at the end of the day is food. Just food, right?
I remember I was like, I gotta go eat at Lupa, and I want to see what you're doing with the sugar snaps.
I think we were serving them raw.
Yeah, exactly. And that dish was one of those dishes that I was like, fucking blew my fucking hair back. I couldn't understand because I didn't grow up going to Chez Panisse. I didn't eat in Italy. You know, I'd been there, but I wasn't like into food. It was the first dish. One of the very few dishes that I was like, I have to put in my own sort of yearbook of what the fuck moments. I was like, wait a second. He has the confidence because I think you just took the string off the top and you dressed him with olive oil, salt, and lemon juice. That was it. It was so austere.
Dave, it only cost like $4.
I know, but I was like,
investment.
wait a second, like everyone's trying to do more with shit, you know?
Yeah.
And here you are, I was like, wait, he's like...
I'm still trying to do that.
Still, just this fucking humble dish looked like nothing, but it expressed so much to me. And I just wanted you to know that. It was like... I
appreciate that, Dave.
I was like, wow. Like, I couldn't understand how your name was in conversation with like the very best. And here you are serving something that was so austere, but you had the confidence to be like, this is fucking Italian, but this is also local. And being local is Italian.
Yes.
And I'm celebrating the moment. And could I do more with this fucking dish and cook them and do it a myriad of ways, put them in a ravioli, whatever. But that dish was a monumental moment for me.
I have a monumental moment of your cooking, Dave, when we were doing a piece for Lucky Peach years ago, and you took the contents of a can of Chef Boyardee and pureed it and put it in a ravioli, and damn, it was delicious. It was fucking good, man. That was fun.
It was perverse.
Outside the box. Outside the can.
Outside the can.
It was good.
So, you know, like I've just been the biggest fan of your food, and
thanks.
I'm so excited for you because you're reopening up a spot that is long beloved in this city.
Sure.
You know, for those that don't know, like Babbo's reopening up, go get those reservations. I don't think it's gonna be. I think the hard part is getting a fucking table.
Might be.
Come on,
you
man.
can never assume.
What's the menu going to be?
You know, the usual tricks. I'm leaning into some heavy, like Pasternak-inspired crudi.
So for those that don't know, David Pasternak, chef of Esca. When you say the word chef, I mean, he probably is the top of the list.
Sure. Did you ever eat at Picheline when he was like really going?
Yeah, restaurant. No, I wasn't.
That was incredible. When he was the chef there, it was really...
We're talking again like chef, like real New York City shit.
Yeah.
But Pasternak was the first person to really sort of sell like Crudo.
Yeah, he was.
And he caught his own fish and shit like that.
Yeah, he certainly did. And still the best that I've had. I mean, even in Europe, I still prefer Dave's style. But
So what is this? How would you describe Pasternak's style that you're embracing?
well, certainly he focused always on really fresh fish, local, wild, northeast coastal stuff. He would also, sort of unorthodox butchering techniques, much more fisherman style than, Japanese sushi chef style. Sometimes crossing grains in unorthodox ways and that kind of stuff. Sometimes serving it in rigor.
Those are two things. What do you mean by the crossing the grains in unorthodox ways?
Well, compared to like a sushi chef that's always breaking the loins into bars and then cutting, in specific ways and the way that they age and such. And Dave, I think, took most of his inspiration just from the fishermen he would hang out with, who were like butchering with like, super flex Dexter knives, like right on the boat. Like that's his jive. So it's pretty cool. And then, exceptionally good olive oil of the most recent vintage.
Spicy.
And often. And sometimes, and usually just like one accent, not a composed dish.
I mean, Pasternak's food to me always is like Hemingway's writing. It's like, let's go as the crow flies to where we need to go, and that's it.
Yep.
So
much restraint, yeah.
Having a lot of Crudo is not what I would have expected at Babbo. Was intentional because people have a
just trying to like differentiate. I mean, you know how it is these days, trying to figure out compelling ways to serve protein without breaking the bank. I think the days of massive haunches of meat are coming to a close, Not only are people apprehensive about spending, $100 on an entree, but from all of the other social and, ecological reasons, I rather focus on smaller bits than larger bits. And Crudo allows you to do that. Yeah, in fact, I was at this cool place yesterday, Brooklyn Glass, which is a studio out near Prospect Park, where they were making like these glass dishes for me that are quite heavy, like really dense, Venetian-inspired, like Murano kind of glass dishes, trinket dishes, candy dishes that have 3 little compartments, but it's solid glass and quite heavy, so they each weigh about 1 kilo. So we're freezing them solid and then serving the Crudo in those.
Oh.
So it stays super cold. One of the things I learned from Pasternak was one of the most crucial elements to great Crudo is super, super cold. Yeah, so this will hopefully accomplish that. So they were, I was out there yesterday just checking out this dude who was molding glass. Yeah.
That's great.
It's rad. Yeah, it's a cool art.
Is it strange to be back in the kitchen? Is it the same?
Yeah, I mean, I've been in the wilderness now.
Did you rip it all out? Did you put everything?
No. Yeah, we took it all out, rebuilt it, and put it back in. Yeah.
Does it feel still the same?
Yeah, it feels the same. Yeah.
Wow.
I hope it does.
Like the kitchen feel the same?
The kitchen is the same. Most of the equipment was switched out for like pieces. I mean, we did some your newfangled rationale type stuff, which I never had the luxury of working with before.
No CVAP? You were a CVAP fan.
I was a CVAP fan. Yeah. Not enough room for both, and certainly rationale has come a long way towards.
My friend asked me, Eddie Huang asked me recently. Usually people have room for one of these.
Yeah.
Rationale or CVAP?
10 years ago, I probably would have chose a CVAP, but today I think Rationale now is better at hot holding than it was, say, 10 years ago where we used to spike, But that was one of the most brilliant things you did at Sambar was like investing in a piece of equipment.
All of our equipment was that.
That was that precise, and that price point, it was not
as reliable
unexpected.
As CVAP. CVAP's a tank.
Yes. Well, Winston, right?
Explain to them.
I'm sorry. We're getting too nerdy here.
Sure.
You want to explain what a CVAP is?
Sure. So CVAP is like a giant bong It's basically an alto sham that has a reservoir of water and a fan. So initially, when we first opened Del Posto, we were using alto shams. And what happens is, say you put a prime rib in the alto sham. Everything's fine until you open the door and you lose the entire environment of humidity and such.
So you're cooking in steam.
Yeah. And then when you close the door, at least in terms of trying to use it, so generally what you would do at a steakhouse is you would cook it in this thing for the entirety. You take it out, you whack the whole thing, and you serve it. At Del Posto, we were trying to use it in service where we would take it out, whack one piece, and put it back in. The problem is when you close the door, now there's no environment. So in order to recreate the environment, the box would have to take the moisture from the meat. The CVAP, because it had this like little bath and a fan for recovery, it was able to recreate the environment without pulling the moisture from the protein because it could meet the humidity, which was incredible. And this guy, Winston, that invented it was the same guy that did all of the pressure cookers for KFC.
Invented the pressure fryer.
Yeah. So he's a
So what would you use the CVAP for? Because I actually never cooked the CVAP. I'd always see it and just was like, I don't understand it. But it was used with such precision for low temp cooking as well and holding. Which was not what it was designed. It was designed for holding.
Yes.
But you were one of the first practitioners.
Well, it had browning settings, and we started playing around with that. But we always had like an infrared broiler, and then also the CVAP, and we would kind of go back and forth, and sometimes reverse sear, or just kind of play around with the.
What did it allow you to do at Del Posto?
Mostly just hold. You could hold at temp and maintain moisture over time, which was the main advantage. In the beginning, like when Mario was on the station, Carbone. We were cooking entire loins of stuff, and then later, obviously, it got broken down into smaller pieces. And he took that, and when they opened up Teresi Italian Specialties, it was like everything CVAP. Yeah.
And he was the biggest advocate of CVAP cooking.
No, he was there. I mean, he was a pivotal part of us figuring out how it worked and how to best utilize its capabilities and stuff. So, yeah, he was there.
And Rationale Alto Sham can do the same elements of a CVAP, but it can also cook dry in convection and have more precise settings
now
and how you cook them together.
Yeah.
So you have that. Yeah. That's got to be a big change. What about a pasta station?
Yeah, so we bought one of these Rationale Ivario pressure skillets. Have you seen these?
No.
It's badass. It's a skillet, but it has a pressure lid, so you can do
it's like a tilt skillet?
Yeah.
Oh, I love a tilt skillet.
But it has like 9 separate zones, and it can it can do everything.
You cook pasta in that?
We use it in the daytime to do like broths and sauces and ragouts, and then we convert it for nighttime service.
Can it recycle water?
No.
So what are you doing with all the pasta water? You're just adding more water?
Yeah.
Do you ever, I always wanted to ask, what happens when the starch content gets too much? For those that don't know, you're cooking pasta and water over and over and over again, and you want that starchy water to finish pastas, but I've always had
sort of a myth. It's like a romantic myth. Generally, that would happen if the pasta was coated in a lot of semolina, for example, to try to prevent it from sticking between the time that you made it and the time that you serve it. So you're dragging a lot of this excess semolina to the water. We fresh freeze everything because it's easier to handle, and it suspends the state. Whereas, all of these, starches, whether it's bread or pasta or pizza or sandwiches, they're infinitely absorbent, right? So if there's moisture present, it's going to take it. So by freezing it, we're able to really suspend it in its best state. So we make it fresh, flash freeze it, then we portion it. So when we're bringing it to the water, it doesn't really have that much excess semolina on it.
Wow. Where did you get the idea to cook in tilt skillet for pasta? That's a novel
we
idea.
started doing it at Del Posto because over the years, the quality of the steel of the pasta cookers was just continually diminishing, and to the point where one time I bought one of these machines, and it was pitting out in like 90 days. So I called them up and I was like, what the fuck? And they were like, maybe you should try not using salt. What? So I was like, maybe we should try a different piece of equipment.
So for those that are civilians, what would that mean? Like, why is that like, what the fuck are you talking about, not cooking with salt?
So boiling water, electricity, and salt have, a chemical reaction that if the steel is of not good quality, it starts to like pit, and then the pit sort of rusts. And then obviously the quality of the equipment is diminished, but also you're then introducing rust to your
can't cook
cooking
pasta
environment
without salt.
Right. I mean, not as far as I'm concerned.
Why is that?
Because you want it to taste as weedy as possible, right? So salt is a flavor enhancer right up to the point where it becomes too salty.
So
I know you like salt, Dave.
I do. Big fan of salt. So what pastas? And also, what are you bringing from Del Posto-ish stuff?
Yeah, it's sort of Del Posto light. Well, it's a significantly smaller team, so I can't get like too crazy. But also, I don't have the interest in doing that type of stuff. It's too.
What do you mean by that? Because I feel like this is the vibe that a lot of people have. It's like, I just don't give a shit about a lot of stuff that I used to care.
No, I care. I just don't. I mean, I can't afford to put that much effort. We used to have 25 cooks in a service, Dave. It's absurd.
Well, that's what I mean. Is like it's a different era.
Yeah. But that's completely impractical on all levels. We did it, I guess, because we could. Also, because it was such a large kitchen, it just required that many bodies to fill the space.
Del Posto was an airport.
It was 25,000 square feet, so yeah, it was massive. So the Babbo kitchen is, this finite amount of space. Mario pretty much packed as much as he could into it. There's really not much else we could do, so we just replaced some of the older equipment, and that's about it.
And stuffed pastas, dried.
Yeah, everything. So we got soup, rice, polenta, like potato gnocchis. We'll be doing like crispelle, so like crepes. And then you have dry shape, dry string, baked pasta, fresh shape, fresh string, stuffed pasta.
It's a lot of pasta,
the whole
dude.
gamut. No, I mean, we're starting, I think, with 10.
That's a lot of pastas.
But the intention is just to explore a broader breadth of what
in no specific region of Italy. Is it just
what I basically did from a larger perspective was I broke Italy into the 20 regions, and then there's the Babbo region, and then the New Yorkese region.
New Yorkese.
And then the sort of like new, hopefully new Babbo hits. So I took my two favorite pastas from each of those and then basically broke it into warm weather and cool weather. So in the warmer weather, we'll celebrate obviously more southern and more coastal stuff. And then the cooler weather, more alpine, more northern stuff. And then switching off pastas two at a time in sort of like this evolving, living, regional switch.
Do you think that diners today are knowledgeable enough about the regions of Italy?
They don't need to be. It's more for us to stay calibrated, It's with the team. It's not necessarily for them. But it's a good talking point, and it helps the staff have a better understanding of the fact that it does come from somewhere and there is provenance, behind these dishes. I don't just make stuff up out of thin air, generally.
But Italian food, I mean, I remember 2000, people were making fun of Ducasse because like, oh man, he got 6 Michelin stars, but it's really just Italian food. There was
Yeah, he was doing, like he had that place in Tuscany where he was cooking all of the pasta, like risotto style. That was wild.
That was wild.
That was really innovative at the time, yeah.
But people shit-talked Ducasse, which was crazy to begin with, but Italian food then was not seen as what it is today.
Yeah.
And I think people have to just accept Italian food fucking won. Like how Netflix won the streaming wars.
You mean over France? Over France, you're saying?
100 fucking %.
You think so?
Globally, I don't even think
Globally.
it's even
Globally,
second there. No way. There's no way.
Well, the
What
last
people
few
want- what
years,
people
New
want
York
to
has
eat,
been
what
has
people
been
want to eat
definitely.
is Italian food. And I think back then, when you were at Lupa and Babbo, the idea that Italian food could be as varied as possible, I don't even think people knew. And the reason I wanted to bring that up is you were talking about the Alpine region and Southern region, and one's heavier, one's lighter, one's dry, one's fresh, whatever. But the fact that I was even thinking that people might even know that is crazy to me, because 2000, people didn't even know there were multiple kinds of olive oil, for fuck's sake.
That's true.
So in that 25-year period, nobody would question a French chef trying to embrace Italian concepts at all.
Right.
Be disparaging, because French guys were like,
Right.
it's fucking bullshit. It's Italian food.
Yeah.
But now it has become, I think, the predominant way of how people want to eat and cook.
Yeah, I mean, in this city in particular, and until recently, a lot of French food was definitely more influenced by the haute chef and not sort of like the more country style stuff that you find, Italian food being influenced by. I feel like more of the nonna. People sort of, I don't know, for whatever reason, culturally sort of are drawn to that like nonna influence in Italian cuisine more than French cuisine. But it's just as prevalent, obviously, in French food. But you see it now, like with Lee and Riyadh and cats like that are starting to embrace a different style of French traditional cuisine,
I don't think it's even remotely close to. I really don't. They're just not the education and the fluency. Like, I always think as a comp when Conan and Chris Cannon opened up Alto.
Yeah, sure.
And it was based on the Alto Adiage region.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Exactly. People were like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
I think people today, it was just
That's
20
true.
years too early.
Yeah.
People would be like, no, I know this region.
I mean, Michael's there now with Santi, and it's not that different.
Michael White.
Yeah, Michael White. I mean, it's a more comfortable restaurant, but obviously it's the same building. It's the same, type of clientele.
We're talking about Chris Cannon, Scott Conant, and that was like a whole different era.
It was, yeah.
In
early
New York City.
aughts, yeah, a long time ago.
And what about your secundi? What's going on there?
Very simple. Actually, I'm treating it more kind of like a steakhouse. So like very simple proteins, condiment driven, and then contorni, essentially on the side. So you choose your side to go with your entree, but it comes with it, but you choose it.
Can I go back to one thing? And I'll just be honest. I have nothing. I always make jokes about risotto and Italian rice culture. I'm not trying to take
for good reason.
Like,
you know a hell of a lot more about rice than I do, Dave.
I'm giving Italian food all of its roses, but I cannot. I made a lot of bad risotto for restaurants, and I've never thought it was really delicious. Can someone tell me what the fuck is so special about risotto?
I don't know. If on the right type of day, I guess, it's not for every day.
But what do you mean by rice? What's a rice dish that you're going to serve?
Like risotto, but porcini or like something like that, or something like a vacca rossa, like Parmesan Reggiano with like some aged balsamic, like Massimo's balsamic vinegar or something like that.
Massimo Bottura, who may not realize that his family makes maybe the best balsamic vinegar in the
for
world.
A long time.
Yeah.
I mean, we were using that when I was at Babbo last, so he's been making that a long time.
And I'm not trying to be disparaging. I can be delicious, but I feel like risotto has a place in food culture which is like maybe the myth around it is greater than the actual dish.
I agree.
Oh my God.
No, I agree.
If anyone, don't get mad at anybody. Get mad at me.
No, I agree.
People get super pissed. I just want to talk about this freely.
No, it's super heavy. It's kind of like, pasty.
A little bit goes a long way. I'm not saying you can't and you shouldn't, but a little bit goes a long way.
Well, also years. I mean, at Del Posto, we actually had a person dedicated just to making risotto start to finish.
What was the name of it? We had a name for that station.
Fool's errand, you know. It was like the poor thing. I mean, there were a couple people that got very, very good at it.
What makes a great risotto?
What I learned from Lydia Bastianich, honestly, what makes it is just leave it alone. Don't try to micromanage it.
No,
like,
you're not stirring all the time?
No, you don't need to do that.
What do you mean?
That fucks it up. It makes it too pasty. You know, you're coaxing too much starch out of it.
Because for those that don't know, you're taught got to have a wooden spoon and you're just cooking
Never stop stirring it. Yeah, no, that's wrong.
And always with the white onions and olive oil and white wine.
Yep. And Lydia would just like ignore it, and it would come out great every time.
Because the starch is going to come out of the rice anyway.
Yeah.
What about the al dente nature of risotto? Because when I'm in Italy and I'm with, like, say, Massimo or somebody, I'm like, am I an idiot?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm an idiot. Like, is this? I want to ask. Like, raise my hand.
It's so frustrating. It really is.
Is this undercooked? Like, I honestly feel that way, but I always shut my mouth because I'm like, man, I don't know shit. Is this the way it's supposed to be?
No, you got me, Dave. It's a tough one. The best way that I've found is towards the end of cooking. You kind of cover it and let it steam the rest of the way, so you're not left with that crunchy pearl. If you cook it too far, then it's kind of like flabby, and that's not very pleasant either. But for the last like 5 minutes, we would actually cover it with a lid that fits, and it would kind of plump.
So you were talking about that crunchy pearl. I feel like maybe I just haven't had it right, but like, is it just where it's just, you bite through it and it's just enough bite?
Yeah, it's like with dry pasta, for example. It's objectively cooked when you no longer see that little pearl, that white. If you see the white, it is objectively undercooked.
Okay. Yeah. Now with that, I have that standard.
Yeah. So it's the same with rice. Yeah. But you go to like Milan, for example, and it's like you can't have a bad one. Like everyone knows how to make it right. And I still don't know how to make it right. I don't. It's so frustrating. I've tried for so long.
So I think about risotto so much, actually, that my sort of comp is if it's properly cooked as risotto, then why would you turn it into arancini, which is cooked more?
Because you can make it crunchy, I guess. Yeah, there's no way that risotto can compete with other rice dishes around the planet. I mean, it's probably the worst of all. You know?
That was done unjust, but I'm so excited to check out this spot, man. And what's going through your, like, do you have anxiety about this? Because this is like, bro, you're going to be center fucking stage. You are going to be center stage in New York fucking City.
I think I should be anxious, but I'm not. I'm not sure why. I guess I just throw caution to the wind and see what comes. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. I have a really good team. I got this.
Did you bring the band back together to some degree?
I do have with this one guy, Josh Safer from Del Posto. We worked together for most of a decade. And there's a guy from Star, this guy, Martel Fonville, who worked with Missy and Michael and Pasternak
Missy Robbins.
And Justin. So he's got like an incredible resume. He's a phenomenal cook. So I feel like I'm in good hands. I'm planning on spending most of the evening in the dining room doing service, like with my big dumb hat on and like the whole thing.
Beautiful.
I'm going to do it.
You're going to change your shoes, dude?
Maybe.
No, I don't think you should. That is,
yeah, no, I'm pumped. I'm going to try to make it like old school. I've been doing a lot of research and I found a lot of inspiration in this guy, Leon Leonidas, who had been the proprietor of the Coach House.
That's what it was.
Which was a restaurant in the space before Babbo. And he was like a contemporary of James Beard. So he was like this village kind of bon vivant. So I've been leaning into that a little bit. But he ran the place, as a maitre d', like impresario from 49 to like the early 90s.
Are you going to do tableside service?
Lots.
And more like
not like cooking, not like trying to bonefish in the dark.
We're going to hear
like doing some
Zabaione being
plating.
whisked.
We have Zabaione, but you'll appreciate it's all made in a Thermomix.
Hey.
Yeah. It's the best, honestly.
I remember eating at Babbo with Liz Chapman. The
Sure.
manholes exploded
I worked with her.
at Kraft. It was like 2000.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of these weird things where the whole like part of where we were, there was no electricity. We're like, I'm going to call Ladner. Let's go eat there. And I had goat cheese for the first time.
Wow.
I had all these things for the first time. And I remember seeing you. I was like, this is like, I don't even know what Italian food is because I didn't. I was like, so that like sort of set my template of what Italian food was moving forward.
I worked the line with Liz there, in like 90.
We love you, Liz Chapman.
98, I think, yeah.
And I think that you have an opportunity to, because that, I think, changed people's perspective of what Italian food was. It clearly did. I think it was the restaurant that changed the whole dynamic of how people thought about Italian food. I'm not trying to put more pressure on you.
No. It's interesting because you were in the gang were opening Kraft at the time,
Yeah.
right? So that's how I met Marco because Amanda was working at Babbo, and I don't know what happened, but there was this massive exodus at Gramercy, and we ended up with like I don't know half a dozen of these young, incredibly like engaged young women that were like really, really into service and loved the knowledge that like Joe and Lydia and Mario were sharing every night in pre-service and stuff. And it was heavily influenced by the service style that was pioneered at Gramercy. And that's what made it work, honestly.
Yeah, but the food, I mean, I never thought about service clearly. I never thought about decor, but it was always for me the food. And when I had it, I was like, I know a little bit about it because my dad came to this country and he worked with this guy, Dominic, and he had this Italian sort of trattoria. And it was, I had mozzarella and carrozza, but like I didn't really know anything. And outside of that, it was like going to like versions of Olive Garden. That's what I thought Italian food was. And it was different. And to see it move, and then you open up Del Posto, and that was just like a fucking, what the fuck is going on in the best possible way? Because we had Brooks here, and I put the two of you guys when you guys.
This is so great. I fucking love that.
You guys were fucking like Del Posto every year, just growing and growing. It just had the best creative arc. You guys were the best compliment. You guys might be the best because you have to put the longevity. Like I think of combinations, team combinations, like sports teams. I think you and Brooks might be the greatest savory, sweet pairing in New York City history.
That's incredible.
And tell me otherwise. Tell me. Yes, you have Wiley and everybody else.
Wiley and Sam,
Mason,
Wiley and Stupak. Yeah.
You have Rosio. You have Malcolm.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, Boulay had a ton of great bakers and pastry chefs.
Sure.
But not the longevity. You guys did it in a way.
8 years, I think we were together. Yeah.
I'm going to say this right now. I'm saying this right now. The best culinary combination in New York City history.
Interesting.
Is you and Brooks. Because you could say Colicchio and Claudia. There's a lot.
That's a very good one.
But not as long.
Okay.
And not as prolific. And not as inventive. When you think about, you guys were just the best like songwriter duo ever because the desserts reflected what you were trying to do savory.
Yes.
And vice versa.
Yes.
And
yeah, that was deliberate.
And I want people to appreciate it more.
Yeah. Thanks, Dave. That's very kind.
So
I think
what's going on with the desserts now?
I have this woman. Her name is Alexis or Alexandria Pugliese. And she's a star person. I have been carrying around some crackhead ideas for a while, and she's helped me sort of like realize them. I also went back and looked at a lot of Gina De Palma's old work, and certainly trying to honor her memory with that department as well. She was sort of the lifeblood of that
pastry
restaurant
chef of Babbo
for a long, long time. She, in fact, saved Mario's life one time when he had an aneurysm on the steps of Lupa. And Gina insisted that he go to St. Vincent's, and he lived. And he may not have lived if he hadn't gone, and I don't think he wanted to go. But, yeah, she sadly died of cancer a while back. But she's a great woman.
Are you going to have her blood orange sorbetto?
We have a saffron panna cotta, and like I got this blue cheese thing.
Blue cheese thing?
With, so like a cheesecake, but I found a blue cheese that's inoculated with blueberries.
What?
Yeah.
I got to try it.
Yeah.
Well, that's a combination that makes a blueberry cheesecake.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's going to be cool. I got this minestrone, Dave. 49-day minestrone. So I make a soup, and then I age it for a week, and then I put it on top of the next week's minestrone.
Wait, what do you mean? Age it room temp?
No, in the refrigerator.
Okay.
But before it gets spritzy, so pasteurize it after a week.
That's like how my mom cooked.
Yeah.
Every day you kill all the pathogens.
See that? Exactly.
Growing up,
exactly.
My mom would have grandmother all kinds of soups and stews, never in the fridge. It's room temp.
Wow.
And
that's
morning,
living.
next morning, boil the shit out of it.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
I know, scared the shit out of me growing up.
I wish I could do that in the kitchen.
No, I know, right? But it definitely changes. It gives it life, literally life.
Base and a lot more spirit.
What was the idea behind it?
Kind of like the Solera system, right? So like how sherry or Madeira or balsamic vinegar is made, right? So I do it for 7 weeks, and it just takes on this really soulful spirit of its own. And being completely vegan, it still tastes like something compelling.
So I've said it on the spot. I think the best last course, in my opinion, even though it's changed these days, is Enrique Oliveira's mole, which is he bought it he could have bought it from a goddamn store. Yeah. I don't care.
It's
the merger of the idea of merging old and new.
Yes.
Is such a beautiful
agree.
Way of talking about tradition and new. And I think this idea is fucking awesome, right? Because you're bridging the gap between the old, literally as a metaphor, I think. Mm-hmm. And I hope this restaurant, and I hope we have all kinds of creations from Mark Ladner in every possible facet, because the world needs that. That 20 years from now, maybe this dish comes off the menu, I don't know, but I can see in theory that this is now going to be the old and the new every day for the customers.
I think so. That's the intention, yeah.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
It's all going to be a lot of work.
Yeah, it's okay. The team's up for it. So as you know, the 100-layer lasagna.
What is that? I don't even know what about that dish is. What is this 100-layer lasagna you talking about?
It's just a lasagna with lots of layers. And
I'm going to say that you started a trend that has become all-consuming in restaurants to some degree. Everyone put lasagna on after you guys put the 100-layer lasagna.
No,
come on.
No,
man.
Isodi had it before. There's lots. I mean,
I'm not saying you invented lasagna. I'm not saying that at all.
For a long time.
I'm not saying, but what you created with a 100-layer lasagna, which we covered in Lucky Peach, and no one's saying you created it, but the way you approached it, the way you put the notes together was, in a way, again, how I sort of started this podcast, taking tradition and innovating within tradition in a way that most people probably had not thought of.
Okay.
That's what I wanted to say, was like, it gave people the liberty to now make lasagna that was different. Mm-hmm. I think that started with you, dude. Mm-hmm. It really did.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
And took over,
well, Don Angie has a really cool version, right? Rolo's has a really cool version. So, yeah, a lot of people are messing around with it. It's not expensive. You can charge a lot for it.
Be very underrating it. But so you're doing what's your version of this?
So the chef I'm working with, Martel, is from Detroit. So I decided to do it Detroit style.
What?
So now it's wrapped in this cheese crust.
Like a Detroit style.
It's gonna break the internet. Yes.
You know it.
Oh yeah. It's so fucking good. It's in a bath of crispy cheese. A tub, I should say.
So you're putting cheese around it, you're baking it?
Yeah.
How many layers?
It's probably 100. It's 6 by 6. the whatever the layers are facing up, so you see all the layers. And then
Slicing it, putting it down, but
yeah. So I'm doing that in the
baking
dining
cheese
room.
around it initially or after?
After, yeah,
You know it's going to break the internet,
yeah,
and you know that every table is going to get it.
yeah. That's the problem we're dealing with now. Is like how to make enough.
What are your thoughts about that? Of making dishes that become iconic.
It's not something you ever start with, right? It happens organically, and then you deal with the repercussions later. I don't think you can approach it. You're good at peering around the corner, but most people, not so much.
And on sort of this conversation, I don't think you remember. It was probably like 2004, and Noodle Bar is basically keeping things afloat because industry people are coming in, much like yourself. And I think there was a certain sense of curiosity as to what the fuck is happening over there. And I can't remember, maybe Wiley was there too. And Ladner has this pose where he's talking to you, but he's thinking and he's talking, looking down, and he's, it's this Ladner-like conversation, and something is percolating, and he's getting it out, and you're like, what I don't understand is like, you're not making the fucking buns. And I thought about that a lot. And I was like, number one is I don't have the space to do that. And I wanted to make buns.
It didn't matter, Dave.
But it was an important conversation for me because it was like, yeah, like I feel like I was letting you down. I did.
No,
That's how much respect I had for you. I was like, I'm letting Mark Ladner down, and I have an excuse because I don't have the space. And I was like, man, if Mark Ladner was doing this, he would make everything from scratch.
That's so funny because my perspective was the opposite. I was like, Dave just proved to me that he's a great entrepreneur. Seriously.
We wound up making him later, but
yeah,
it was a different ballgame.
I did some work with Steven at just working in the kitchen. Danny Bowen that was over at
he's a Budokan.
At Budokan. So I was doing some R&D for the Borromini project that Steven just opened in Philadelphia. And so I spent a bunch of time in that kitchen, and they were making all that stuff. And I just couldn't believe it because they do 1,000 covers a day. Unbelievable.
Wow.
No one would know.
No one would know.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I think you were smart.
Well, I think about a lot of those early days quite a bit, and I'm excited that you're back in the saddle. I'm very excited that New Yorkers are going to get an institution. I know it, and I have no doubt that it's going to be, it's going to spark new memories.
I won't let you down, Dave, I promise.
Dude, you're not. No question. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, thanks for the invite. Pleasure.
We're back. David Meyer is going to sit down. We're going to do a quick Ask Dave. Thank you, Mark Ladner. Go make a reservation for Babbo. I think it's going to be fucking impossible.
Yeah.
But there's clearly a lot of storied history to talk about. We're not talking about everything today, but let's get this Ask Dave.
So we've got Camilla from Pasadena, who's a major domo level 5.5. We're getting into the decimals. Camilla's favorite dish that they make is Norwegian meatballs, mashed potato, and cucumber salad. Their best meal is the crispy duck lasagna, which you guys were just talking about lasagna, at Lila in Atlanta. And Camilla says her family's Norwegian, and they've always used a cheese plane, which is a staple in Scandinavian kitchens, but don't often see them elsewhere. But she can't imagine cooking without it. Is there any common Korean cooking tool that you use at home that you think more Americans should adopt?
Well, thanks for sending that question in, and shout out Pasadena. It's funny. I was talking to Ladner, and I was like, man, I never thought that I'd be talking to him and not living in the city of New York City, but living in Pasadena. So it's crazy to just sort of that juxtaposition. But I don't know much about Norwegian food, and I'm so unfamiliar with it that I don't even know what a cheese plane is. What is a cheese plane?
So Camilla describes it. It's perfect for thinly slicing cucumbers, apples, potatoes, almost like a mini julienne slicer, but way safer and easier to clean.
She's cutting what with it?
Cucumber, apples, potatoes, just whatever. Just getting those julienne slices.
Camilla, we're going to make this a two-parter, please. Camilla, can you show me an example? Can you videotape what you're talking about so I know for sure? And then we are going to revisit this. So this is going to be continued. Dave's going to reach out to you. We're going to hopefully see a video. You don't have to show your face. You can just show your hands and what you're doing. And we're going to get one and we're going to test it out when we get back to the studio.
Yeah.
So I don't want to give you bullshit. I don't want to make something up. I want this to be useful, and I want to be open-minded. So we're going to leave it at that.
And are there any Korean cooking tools that you think could be adapted or adopted?
Scissors.
I think that's good. Yeah.
We named Kawi. Listen, Kawi would still be open today if it wasn't for the pandemic. And Unjo, one of the great chefs, and we worked together for so long. And I remember that. I'm sorry, I'm going off a tangent here. Fucking Pete Wells saying like it's modern. They didn't know what modern Korean is. And if you look at that menu, what Unjo was doing, almost all the fucking Korean restaurants now were doing what Unjo and what we were doing there. And we named it Kawi because it was going to be Kai Babbo, which was how you do a rock, paper, scissors. And there's going to be like 3 restaurants planned out. I think we talked about it when Unjo was on the podcast. But Kawi is scissors. And nobody uses scissors as well as the Koreans do. Yes, other Asian cultures use scissors to cut shit in food. I believe Koreans use it the most. And clearly I'm biased at that. But to me, it's the most representative of Korean food and culture because here it is as like a utility tool at home. But Koreans having to have multi-purpose of everything, use it in food to cut your meat at a barbecue, to cut your noodles, to cut gakdugi, to cut kimchi. It is something that I think is indispensable. And I use all the time, all the fucking time. So kitchen shears is a better way to describe it. So that would be something that is not necessarily Korean, but maybe is similar because in Scandinavian culture, I'm sure cheese plane is used in Finland, Denmark, Sweden, and Norway, probably Iceland as well. And kitchen scissors are used throughout Asia as well.
That's a good answer. I'm pro shears in the kitchen as well.
I love them so much that I wanted to design my own.
Oh.
But then I realized there's so many fucking good kitchen shears that you don't really need to. Anyway, thank you for sending that in, Camilla. We are going to ask you. You don't have to do it immediately, but we're going to make this a to be continued Ask Dave. We're going to try it out, and we're going to see if it is as good as you say. Maybe we'll do a scissors video as well. So thank you for sending that in. Keep on sending them in at askdave@majordomemedia.com. And we're going to keep on rewarding people for sending these in.
Yeah.
Good question. Thank you. And we'll get back to you in a second. But anyway, we reached the end of the podcast today. Thank you to Mark Ladner. Go check out Babbo. It's a good companion piece to, I don't know when exactly we're going to release it, to Brooks Headley, who we had on the pod, and we're going to Steven Starr. So it's almost like a trilogy, one might say. And subscribe to all of our content on YouTube at the Dave Chang Show Recipe Club. And I think we'll be back with a Dinner Time Live in a couple weeks as well. So thanks so much.